What's up, everybody? We're actually going to do a unique little video here. It's a video on our experiences with Blockbuster Video, and the reason we have two faces here, I mean, a lot of you already know Rufus, but Rufus worked with us at Blockbuster. That's how we met. Did you met him there, right, for the first time?
No.
Okay, so you already knew him
prior to that. Yes.
I met him for the first time, and also met Robbie here at the end. Say hi, Robbie.
How's it going, everybody?
This right here, guys, what y'all are looking at. This was the power crew. We had like a well-oiled machine, the four of us. It was great. Now there's some, other players that, members of the staff that obviously aren't
less
here,
important.
but less important.
So there were extras in our story.
Yeah, they're actually this was the A team. This was the A team. So no, me and Robbie actually were assistant managers at that time when the four of us were working there.
Let's recall some of the craziest, wildest, maybe some things we need to probably not admit to.
Robbie decided that it'd be a good idea to cut the cord on a broken rewind. On a broken rewinding thing.
VHS tape rewinder.
There you go. Thank you.
So back in the day, we had to rewind the VHS
So we
tapes.
had like what four to six.
Yeah, because you got to do them in
rewinders.
mass. Because people that Be Kind rewind thing, people don't do it. So we had to rewind them ourselves.
So one of them went out. It stopped working, and Robbie, which is funny because you're not a dumb guy like by any stretch. But this was a very dumb moment.
Well, let me just say, though, I think it was out of frustration because it wasn't that it just stopped working. It was giving us a hard time. It was trolling us.
Right.
So he had enough.
It was broken, and we were going to replace it. We were gonna take it out, but yeah.
It was like the coffee machine, the copy maker on Office Space.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So Robbie, he used to always do this thing like with this voice and this face like, oh, do it. Can you do it? So he starts doing that. He takes the scissors and he's making dumb faces, cuts the cord. The problem is it's still plugged in. So this fireball like exploded and all of us were going, holy crap, what was that? So almost immediately, it's like we all thought of the same thing. We're like, let's go watch the tape, security tape. So we go into the office and the tape was like, it was jumping. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like a smooth, like a replay.
A frame rate of about like 5 frames a second or so.
So you see Robbie go like this, like this, like this. Fireball.
A white frame.
Yes,
yeah.
A white frame.
Completely white.
And then all of us like this.
Well, hold on. It was a white frame, a flash, then nothing. We were just sitting there for like 2 frames, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah. That's good. That's one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite stories right there.
We made him so mad one morning because of the boxes. My days there, that's what I take away the most. That's the story. So the new releases would come in big cardboard boxes, and
it's like a regular movie box or something.
So we were all into wrestling. This is where we would rent N64 games. We would watch wrestling. We would talk wrestling. It was wrestling. So what else would we have to do other than to wrestle at the store when everyone closed? Because it closed at midnight. We would still have to be there for around a couple hours to clean everything up. But we decided to make a bigger mess. So we got those boxes, made a makeshift wrestling ring, and just started wrestling. Started performing like moves like suplexes,
power bombs, and
jackhammers, all kinds of stuff. And so, what was your reaction upon seeing these? So afterwards, of course, we take the cardboard boxes like nothing happened. That were crushed, by the way, and put them back into the closet.
So we did this.
And he finds them the next day.
We did this often, actually. And this particular time, it was done on a Monday before the Tuesday, which is when the new releases would go out on the shelf.
Right.
So Robbie had opened on that Tuesday, and I remember we got there that afternoon, and he was like, "Why are all these boxes crushed? What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, we're wrestling." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're making a mat and we're doing moves." And he's like, "What?" Like he just couldn't. It didn't register why we were doing what we were doing with him.
You couldn't power bomb somebody on the floor,
Yeah,
choke slam someone on the floor.
Well, yeah, that would make no sense to wrestle in a video store. Without mats, without proper protection.
We gotta have proper protection, man.
Yeah, of course.
So what were you thinking when you opened that morning, that Tuesday, and you saw him, like the boxes were just destroyed?
I was like, I have no idea. I can't remember what happened. I mean, it was 22 years ago.
22 years ago? Jeez, 22 years ago. We're old.
But yeah, I'm sure it was, what the hell did these guys do? What is going on? I don't know.
That was good.
I probably should have gone and watched the tapes. Maybe there would have been something else on there that...
I mean...
Oh, yeah? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of stuff on there.
A lot of stuff. We used to let Green in after the store closed.
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
did. It was, big no-no.
Yeah, we could have gotten fired many times over working there.
Yeah, she started to think that something was amiss because she started threatening it. I know you
The
boys are
store
up to...
manager.
Yeah, I know you boys are up to something. I'm going to start watching those security tapes. I'm going to start... Well... If you did, you'd have plenty to work with.
So we're going to assume that she never really truly watched tapes all the way through.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time when... Because usually what would happen is they would leave... It was kind of like an unspoken rule. You wait till the end, like till we're about to leave, to mop. And I remember I was having some sort of issue where I couldn't figure out the money or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the office counting stuff down, and I ran up to the front to do something, and the floor was wet, and I slipped and slid into the return, like...
The return cabinet.
Wow.
I don't...
Who's the one that mopped?
I don't know.
My favorite one, when Billy came in, nonchalantly walked in the store. He wasn't working. He was at home. And comes in, and we're like, hey, Billy. He just walks to the back into the bathroom. Is back there for like 20 minutes. We're like, okay.
So I knew this was happening because he had asked me, and actually I think he was on the clock actually, because he had asked me if he could do it. And I'm not gonna steal your thunder, but I knew it was gonna happen. I didn't say anything. I knew exactly what was about to happen. Go on.
But anyway, it comes out 20 minutes later. White face paint with the black lines. Hair down in a black trench coat, dressed up with the black bat as Sting the wrestler.
Yes.
I was like, wow, okay. And he walked around the store, not saying anything, not talking like
At
Sting
the time,
does.
Sting wasn't talking.
Right.
And by the way, this wasn't Halloween. This was just like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. And I remember when he asked me, and at this point, me and him hadn't known each other very long, because that's where we met, was Blockbuster. So he was like, hey, would it be okay if I dressed up as Sting tomorrow at work? I'm like, yes, it would be okay. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, of course. Why not? I was like, I don't think you'll do it. If we were saying it at the time, I'd have been like, you ain't got the nuts, you know? But sure enough, he did. Walked in, and like he said, he was back there 20 minutes, came out, walked around, was even putting up tapes as Sting.
I remember just people just looking at me, but not wanting to question it. They're just like, I don't...
The best part was there was this kid. This kid couldn't have been more than 7 years old, maybe 7 years old. This guy, because Billy's 6'2". Sting in real life is 6'2". Just, he's a lot girthier than you are. And Billy had long hair at the time. And this kid actually thought he was Sting. And he's just looking at him just like completely enthralled and like, oh my God, this is Sting. Billy even signed an autograph for the kid. So kid, if you ran across Sting at Blockbuster, it was this guy. It wasn't the real guy. Like that kid probably tells this story.
He's had this story forever.
Yes.
I swear to God, man, I was just in Blockbuster. There was Sting. And then he's gonna like watch this video and be completely crushed. Sorry, man.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Another moment that just sticks out in my mind is, and I think you were there for this one. Somebody, I was at the register checking somebody's movies out there, and they were just like, they had an attitude, or they were giving me lip, and I was just like, you know what? I just stuck her movies on the counter and just walked off. And just started pulling returns from the return bucket. And then I look up at you. She's looking at you because you're the manager at the time, and I'm looking up at you, and then you're looking at me, and we're all three just looking at each other like, what's going on here?
The rules are all broken.
Me and Robbie used to get asked a lot back then if we were brothers. You know, you remember this, right? Like all the time. You guys brothers? You guys look alike. And one day, the way the Blockbuster was set up, it was like 2 islands. And you had 2 people. It was like a U from like the employee standpoint. It was like a U. And you know, up front was all the candy and all that crap, and the lines came down the sides. Well, one day I'm in one and he's in the other, and we're like facing each other. And this dude walks up, looks at Robbie, looks over at me, real confused, looks back at Robbie, looks back over at me, and me and Robbie just start dying laughing. We're like, we get it all the time, and no, we're not brothers.
Remember I used to annoy you with that kind of thing? You'd start talking about something, and I'd be like...
Yeah.
But I also remember that I used to love irritating him. Because he would just fly off the handle for no reason sometimes. I remember you were prepping something, and you're talking to me, and I'm sitting there watching you, and everything that you're doing, I'm undoing. Every step, and I'm putting the things back in there. It's like, dude, you stop. It was like what I would do is I would wait. Like most people, you know, they don't wait until somebody loses it before they stop. I would wait until you lost it and then knock it off.
I couldn't even be mad. Like, I would get mad for like a second and be like, it's just Robbie. Like, I can't even be mad at him. It was funny. Like, no, we're talking about this earlier. Like, to this day, that is still one of the most fun jobs I've ever had, was working at Blockbuster.
Bar none.
To this day.
Yeah, sure.
It was super fun. But a lot of it had to do with who we were working with. And it was us, you know, we worked together. And all the other people that we worked with as well were really cool. For the most part, you know, any store manager that rotated in and out was usually pretty cool. Remember Brunk? Do you remember that guy?
That's who I was thinking of, the little, little
he
shrimpy
was.
guy.
Yeah, he was like, he wasn't one of the better store managers in our time, but
And he couldn't control anything that any of us did.
It wasn't chaotic, because when the job needed to get done, it got done, like, for sure. We never left the store a mess for the opening crew. Nobody had ever complained on, oh, you guys didn't mop, or you guys didn't this, and blah 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 blah. Like, we did everything that needed to get done.
And that's another thing. It was, I think it's almost like kind of like Empire Records or something, like that movie. Like, it's a bunch of goofballs working.
Yeah.
And we did some stupid stuff, some shady stuff, but we didn't ever do anything like crazy, like steal or kill or maim or anything like that. We weren't actual like criminals, and like, but we kept it. We just had fun. We did our job and we had fun. There was a cop on duty on Friday and Saturday nights named Mike, and even I remember some of the stuff we were doing. Like, he was like, you know, we were doing it, and then we look at him like, wait, are you gonna say anything? And he's like, you ain't breaking the law, just do your thing.
Yeah. He's like, look, I'm getting extra money off the clock right now. So
Do you remember? I mean, just think about some of those times though, and think about how strange it must sound to people today if they don't remember video stores. You remember Friday nights, new releases?
Oh yeah,
they'd be all out.
Oh yeah,
and we'd have a list of people and there'd be people waiting,
standing around waiting for someone.
And then
to return
when it would
one.
come in, they would fight over who got it first.
Yep.
So we had to make a list of people and write their names down as they came in. So if it did come in, the right person would get it. Otherwise, it'd be freaking fighting in the parking lot.
No, it was great. I remember Titanic was a huge release. Huge release. Everybody was trying to rent Titanic, and it just wasn't there. That was one of those times where, like you said, we had this list. Like, if people saw someone because it was 2 tapes, so they had to like fold it down flat.
And then some people would try to stop them in the when they were trying to return it, and then come in with it, and
check
go,
it in,
and
yeah. So, I mean, people wanted to watch Titanic. Yeah. That's how it was on a Friday night.
Savages in this town.
A bunch of savages. Oh man, that was good times.
One of the things people were always annoyed with, though, is like if they had their card but no ID, and you had to look up their ID, or you had to look up something on their account, and heaven forbid if they had late fees, they did not want to hear it. A lot of times they didn't.
Blockbuster made probably most of their money off of late fees, not even off renting the actual movies.
No, I think it was actually, if you looked at the reports, it actually had on there that it accounted for most of the revenue. It was crazy.
Late fees was crazy. And then those guys, what was that guy's name? I don't want to say his name, but always had late fees. And I remember the first time I had checked him out, pull up his information, and it was like $78 in late fees or something. I was like, you got a couple late fees here. He's like, oh yeah, I know. And I was kind of nervous to tell this guy, like, you got $78 in late fees, because if I was told that, I'd be like, whoa, for what? What do you mean? You know what I mean? Might have got a little hostile. But he was like, oh yeah, I know. I'm like, it's like $78. He's like, yeah, it's cool. It's all the time. You know? So he was cool. He never complained, and it got to a point like he'd come in and I'd actually chop his late fees in half, because we could do that as, you know, managers. Basically, we could take the late fees off if someone had a good sob story or whatever. But dude was a loyal customer, never complained. Always knew he had $100 in late fees every single time, so I'd pull him up, chop him down, and he'd just be like, "Oh, thanks." So, anyways,
another benefit from working there was we got 5 free rentals every week.
Yes.
So we always take advantage of that. Gaming, movies, whatever.
Well, games not so much. New releases not so much, because new releases for games came already. Like when we got them, they were already released. We never got to play them before they come out.
Yeah.
So
I remember renting games though. I guess, but not the new ones.
But not the new ones.
Okay, I forgot
they
about
had to be
that.
30 days old. Or,
it was like it had to be
30
like
days
21
old.
days. Yeah, 21 or 30 days old.
Yeah.
And then if it was a really popular game, you would never.
Yeah.
You'd have to be there and go.
Pretty much. Yeah. And the movies, we usually got the movies at least a couple of days, sometimes a week early.
Well, they liked us too, just so we would tell people about them.
Right. So we could actually rent the movies before they hit the shelf. But if they hit the shelf,
you had to wait 30 days.
Right.
Oh, that was another thing I gotta like. I'd be out there stocking the movies and stuff, and people would be like, "Have you ever seen this? You know, is it any good?" And I'm like, "Look, I watch Godzilla movies and."
It's like my favorite movie's Critters. I've never seen this.
I'm thinking about renting V, the final battle over here. I haven't seen Amadeus or whatever the hell it is you're talking about.
Amadeus.
Rock Amadeus.
Yeah.
Rock,
Birdcage.
Amadeus. The Birdcage.
I could still see like the new release wall, like in all the stuff that was on it, like Insurrection, Armageddon.
I stopped working there right about the time it was transitioning into DVDs from VHS tapes. I don't think I ever actually dealt with DVDs working at Blockbuster Video. So it was shortly after I left that.
That was a crazy time.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the first DVDs I ever watched was at his place. I think you were there too. Like,
yeah, and I remember
Robbie was the first one to got a DVD player, and we were all like, "Oh!"
Yeah. Once DVDs came out, I was like, "Nope, no, I'm not going to do it." And Robbie convinced me. He was like, "Look, you don't got to rewind it." I'm like, okay, wait a minute, that's kind of dope. Like, you gotta understand, like, no one really knew about DVDs yet. Not like we do now.
Right.
But the big selling thing was like, yeah, they got these chapters. And I'm like, what does that even mean? He's like, well, if you just want to watch a part in a movie, you can skip to that part. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like a CD, basically.
Any more wild craziness you can think of?
Nothing that can be said on camera.
Female. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
We used to, if you guys remember Blockbuster back in the day, they had TV screens hanging from the ceilings, and usually it was some kind of demo tape or something like that. New releases, new games coming out, all that kind of stuff. You know, I have some of the VHS, like Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 demo tapes.
Yeah.
Well, after the store would close, we would put a movie in, and it was patched into the speaker system that going throughout the store, so you could hear it and watch it. You know, like if you were, I mean, we'd even turn the TV towards the office sometimes. You know, while we were counting money, whatever. One night, I don't know whose idea this was.
One night. Oh, this was several.
Okay.
But this is the night we got caught.
This is the night we got caught, right? And by getting caught, it was by his now wife, Robbie's now wife, which at the time they were just dating. I think Billy. I'm pretty sure it was Billy. I'm gonna say it was Billy.
I'm gonna say it was Billy.
It was Billy. He grabbed this movie called Femalien. Femalien. So female alien, right? And these are the kind of movies we would call practically porns. They would show everything but penetration. You know, they'd show boobs and ass and whatever. They wouldn't show actual. So they were PP practically. The entire front windows or walls of the store were windows, so you could see right in. So if you're driving down 303 and looked over and saw boobs in the Blockbuster, you know, so yeah, the TVs for the entire world to see, and his again, his wife, girlfriend at the time, was picking him up from work. And she was like, what is going on in there? So he had to explain our idiocy.
Well, and that's what would happen is I was in the office, counting, I'm counting money. Finish it up, and I walk out, and I'm like, and I'm hearing, I'm like, what the heck are you? And I'm like, get that over the friggin' thing, out there. So, yeah. It was,
Gee, I can just picture her in the car like this.
Just wait till you get out here.
Yeah.
That's a good time. Blockbuster
Speaking
was good.
of, you said we would turn the TVs every once in a while, whatever. I remember one night in particular, you just went to go turn it off, walked away, and you just hear...
It fell. Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that. It fell.
There was no remotes for it. You just had to reach up and touch it.
Yeah.
Touch the power button. But, yeah, it just fell.
It was the weirdest thing. Look, I turned it off, and I took like 3 steps, and I hear behind me, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, annihilated that shelf. Everything that was on that part of the shelf just exploded. It was crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude.
I forgot about that.
I broke a mirror once.
Did you?
Yeah, you know how they had the mirrors up in the along the corners. Yeah, there was an end cap. That's like how flimsy those shelves were. There was an end cap that was kind of loose, so I went to go adjust it, and I felt like it was stuck. So I was trying to get it, and it just let loose and it went up. And
Anyways, Blockbuster Video was a good time for the family on weekends. And for some of us who work there, it was an even better time for the employees. But appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah, thanks guys.
You guys got crazy stories, put it in the comments. Let us know, it was Empire Records up and whatever. But
And say hello to Robbie, first time in a video.
He's actually going to be helping us with the movie quite a bit now. So there's that. I'm not going to be saying to what degree. I'm not going to let people know that you literally quit your job to do this. But
yeah, don't tell them that.
So, yeah, that's good times.
All right. Thanks, guys.